My blissful gorgeous self, as soon as King Bhoja entered the royal assembly, a newly arrived Sanskrit scholar was greeted by him, who in turn imparted him a blessing. Tripidastu dine dine. Unto you let there be 3 pains every day. Shocked, the king looked for attendants to take him for punishment. Kalidas, well known as instant poet, and for his instant reply, who still today is known as Shakespeare of India, requested the king, "A moment, please, His Majesty. Without knowing the meaning of blessing, it would be a blemish in your glory, Your Highness, to punish him. If I am allowed, I can interpret it." And he said, "In the morning, with the rise of the sun, nicely showered and adorned with in the temple before God, he said, O king, let thy heart be filled with torment and anguish. How shall I please, O my God? Midday, while feasting wise men and friends and kinsmen and family members, may thy heart and mind be painful, seeking their satisfaction. And at night, when you are with your wife alone, your heart and body set upon how to satisfy fully and soothe her completely. So these 3 pains should be on you every day, daily. Hearing the words of the Kalidas, interpretation of Kalidas, and understanding the purpose, Bhojraj was delighted and highly pleased. He offered the Sanskrit scholar with great respect and a donation of 10,000 gold dollars, entreatingly. So, the scholar was the same, blessing was the same, nothing of the two was changed, but interpretation came in the middle. Abstraction of the meaning was needed. Without proper explanation, an important item, a distinctive person, sacred place, holy book, a shrine remains insignificant, unnecessary in the eyes of the world. So, the court can give you life sentence, your credit, your prestige, your fame, all gone. Your life seems to be rolling down to the drains. Then you appeal to the court, case is dismissed, you regain your honor. But what is appealing, my dear friends? All what a lawyer does, in brief, is presenting new interpretation of the same law, explaining your innocence. It is the same law through which they convicted you. But now it is only a new interpretation. Liar charges millions of dollars for what? Just for new interpretation. What a psychologist does, after all, he does just interpretation. Interpretation works well. It saves life from destruction, from death, from torture. Now it can save the world from World Wars II. And Gita's new interpretation, which I am providing, is ready. Mansur was enlightened. He saw the world as one vast expansion of consciousness, in all plants, trees, animals, birds, and people the same. One truth is shining, abounding. Even he himself is not apart from that. And he spoke out, "Oh, I and God are non-different." And 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 the king was aghast and he was very angry. Interpretation was not given, and so he was taken to the public square, tried by the people, and he was stoned to death just because interpretation was not available. And Jesus Christ brought before the Pilate, handcuffed, and asked, "You have claimed you are the king of the Jews. Are you the king of Jews?" And Jesus said, "You said it," and he kept quiet. And what does it mean? Those days, the Jews were the Jews represented most cultured and religious people in that vicinity. And Pontius Pilate was very sympathetic to this young man, and he wanted to release him. He was seeking excuse. But Jesus was not in a mood to give interpretation. He just said, "You said it," and he kept quiet. So he was hanged to death. So someone who can dedicate his life to the invisible, unknown, unacquainted beloved, interpretation is needed. So enlightenment is like a vast ocean with innumerable currents, is Gulf streams and Labrador inside one cold and one hot, containing innumerable mellows and varieties. The enlightenment is very delicious. It is not just emptiness. It is not just a cosmic void. It is not just vast zero. It is not nothingness, as existentialists say. So each one's own experience is unique and different. It must be interpreted in a proper way that people can understand it. Each relation is closer than the closest, whether whatever is the relationship, why there is great fight, pillow fight between husband and wife. And many times they break their heads each other. Why? Because of misunderstanding. Why misunderstanding? Because they have no word there, they have no way to explain properly. No interpretation in the middle. So, my dear friends, most of the great God-realized person have always spoken in code languages, and time passed, and now we need interpretation. Had there been any interpretation for Mansoor, for Jesus, for Socrates, and for Lao Tse, and they would not have been ripped out and killed like ordinary criminals. Of course, Lao Tse was not killed, but he remained unknown. But this is not the case with Bhagavad Gita. And also it is the case with Bhagavad Gita also, because every time for each individual different interpretation is required. according to his level of consciousness. So Gita has been communicated by many different great seers and sharers and masters and avatars, traditional acharyas of different traditions. Gita is the essence of absolute reality. All what is whole and fullness is hidden within it. Like huge tree in the seed, like butter in the milk, like sugar in the sugar cane, like huge human form in the smallest semen and ovum. Shankara expounded Bhagavad Gita through the perspective of utterly intellectual approach. He gave the message of Advaita Vedanta, non-dual oneness of existence through Bhagavad Gita. Sri Ramanujacharya expounded the same Gita, bringing out the message of love, devotion, and Vishishtadvaita, doing all actions in God's remembrance alone. Recently came Tilak, launching upon same Gita, who delivered an entirely different message of actionistism. So, not workaholism, of course, but pure intense actionistism. So, do or die, remaining uninvolved in the fruits. So 200 years ago, America fought for her independence from the British hold, British slavery. And 70 years ago, India also freed herself from the cruel clutches of the same. At the advent of that independence, whites scattered round about the country, mostly concentrated in the north, was a prominent group of revolutionaries. They were powerful and strongly organized upon the blazing grandeur of the country, filled with high spirit of need to preserve its ancient heritage. British so large and the Hindus so small and very religious. And when they began to make progress, fighting and surprisingly shaking up and destroying the very orientation of the British occupancy, news of the wholesale destruction of the British reached to the Empress at London. She became enraged, her prestige threatened. She cried out, "Who is the inspirational force behind their stratagem and vigor?" The Chancellor said, "We don't know exactly, Her Highness. They either die in their attempt or successfully disappear from the sight. Seldom few we have found alive. In one pocket we find a very tricky pistol, and in the other a small book known as Gita. This Gita is found with each of them." Empress screamed aloud, "All copies of Gita should be collected at once and destroyed. And go right now, arrest the author, bring him to me. I will deal with him personally." And then peals and peals of uncontrollable laughter echoed. Its author lived 30 centuries before Christ, Her Majesty, and therefore the attempt is useless. So what is it that made Gita surviving so long? So warm, so hot, so powerful, providing materials to extremely calm, cool and collected seekers of truth, as well as hot-blooded, hot-tempered revolutionaries. What is in it that attracts equally from Emerson and Thoreau to Mr. Azad and Mr. Singh, Bhagat Singh and other revolutionary staminas? Answer is its multidimensional wisdom, its non-rigidity, and its scientifically experienceable nature of statements of facts in a musical way. Because of this, there exists many spaces between verses, words, and even letters, which enable various generations far-sighted, broad-hearted, wise men to draw new and new meanings and thus introduce new interpretations, fresh and newly applicable to time and circumstances, my dear friends. Recently, a case was filed in Europe. A Christian nun alleged Krishna, who spoke Gita, is immoral because he married with 16,100 wives. The courtroom was packed with dignitaries. The lawyer of Krishna stood up and asked the nun to tell the court that very oath she took at the time of being nun. She refused. She said it is private and secret and too religious to tell this in the public. Then the lawyer said to the judge, Your Honor, may I tell the oath she has taken? Permission granted, said the judge. And then the lawyer read, With my full awareness, taking an oath to be the bride of Jesus, so on and so forth. And the lawyer read the oath out. Then he said, Only in Europe we have 2 million brides of Christ, and we are paying for them for being the bride. In last 2000 years, since Jesus was born, about hundreds of thousands of brides of Christ. And as Christians believe Christ is still alive, so my Lord, Your Honor, the number of brides of Christ is far bigger than Krishna. So, with her logic, Christ is far bigger immoral than Krishna. If Gita is to be banned, then Bible must be banned with manifold strictly as many as the number of wives. Then the nun interrupted, Yes, but I never slept with Christ. I never made love with him. So the lawyer said, in that case, none must be charged with crime of deception and fooling the innocent public who are paying, teething, donating such large amount for her survival just because she is in intimate closest relation with Christ being his bride. So, as far as Krishna about his status has said in Gita, like lotus leaf in water, I am absolutely uninvolved, doing nothing except serving humanity, expecting nothing, just existing as I am. Krishna is, I read, married only to save their life from ruin, never for lust. He explained it. So, through this interpretation, the lawyer won the case. So, my dear friends, winning and losing in life-threatening cases absolutely depends on how convincing and powerful interpretation you are able to provide. We hope this presentation of Bhagavad Gita, the commentary, may win enlightenment for you. It is the same Bhagavad Gita surviving from and for so long, interpretation by wise men and their holy prasadik vani based on their soothing personal experiences have kept it in the hearts of people, and so it shall remain long. Yes, interpretation is compulsory, without which proper perspective cannot be composed, without which it may appear too dry, unfounded, and we do not find someone to bestow a new meaning to life suitable enough in this century. Breaking and destroying humanity, all have gone old, and new is needed to live and establish new musical and peaceful civilization in this 21st century. Truly, the message, the essence, the ultimate verdict of each and every wise interpretation is one.